Today I'll show you, hands down, the best green bean casserole recipe for your Thanksgiving table. We're using fresh green beans, just regular green beans for this recipe. I've taken them, I've topped and tailed, which just means taking the end stem off and the bottom, and then we've cut them into about 1 to 1.5 inch slices. I've got some water that I've brought up to a boil. I'm adding some salt to it. So now I'm going to add the beans to the water. And what we're doing now is blanching the beans. We're pre-cooking them for a couple of minutes. This will do two things. It will give them a vibrant green color. Also, we can control the amount of cooking. So we'll let these cook in the salted water just for a couple of minutes. You'll see that they're floating on top and they'll get this bright, glorious green color. I'm going to turn this off and we're going to drain this. I've got a colander in the sink. I'm going to turn the heat back on, and what we're going to do is, with that warm pan, we're going to add some unsalted butter, and I'm going to stir this around, and we want the butter to melt nicely into the pan. So we're going to add this diced yellow onion to the pan, and I'm just going to give this a stir around, and now we're going to add some minced garlic and just sweating this off. And you'll notice we add the garlic after the onion because we don't want to burn it, and it isn't on a high temperature. Sweating means just a medium temperature where you're bringing out the juices. You're not looking to get it brown. It smells fabulous. The onions soften nicely. We're going to add some fresh thyme. Fresh thyme's going to add this wonderful sweet floral taste to this recipe. At home, if you liked sage, you could add a small amount, or even rosemary. I'm using two varieties of mushrooms, cremini, but I'm also going to be adding some sliced white mushrooms. And we're just adding them. And it always looks like there's a lot of mushrooms at first, but remember, mushrooms have a lot of water content. What we want to do to help get that water out of the mushrooms, so I'm going to add some of the chicken stock. We'll let these mushrooms cook for about 5 minutes. During that time, they're going to release a lot of their juice, and you'll notice the massive amount of mushrooms has gone to a small amount. As you look in the pan, you'll notice there's just a couple of tablespoons of juice left in there. What we're going to do now is add some flour. The flour is going to make a roux. It's going to be a thickening agent, so we get this nice velvety, silky sauce that grips those green beans, and I'm using all-purpose flour for this. So now that we've got the mushrooms all coated with the flour, we're going to actually add the rest of the chicken stock, and we're also going to add 2 cups of cream. Now, whenever you work with flour, you never know the consistency until it comes up to a boil. That's when it thickens. But what we're looking for here is to cook this for about 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes, it's got this beautiful consistency now. It's velvety, it's creamy. It looks like a really good, rich soup. I've taken the green beans and I've placed them in a 13x9 oven glass dish. Let's ladle some of this mushroom soup over it. Just bringing the soup over the actual green beans. Oh, just look at the colors. Look at the colors of the two of them. They look fabulous. And we just want to make sure we coat all of the green beans, coming along the sides, giving them a lovely coating. And there you have the mushroom mixture, nicely covered. Every person who gets a bite is going to get some of that mushroom cream sauce in here. I'm going to place this off to one side. And now what we want to do is make the topping. The topping's really easy to make. A little twist we're going to do with ours is we're going to add some panko breadcrumbs, and then I'm going to take a couple of tablespoons of unsalted butter. That will help those panko breadcrumbs get a nice crispiness to them. Now, always remember, when you're making this recipe, feel free to add as much salt and pepper as you want. You'll notice that I don't add too much salt and pepper. I like to add it at the table side. Now that we've got the topping mixture, what I want to do is place this on top of the casserole dish. So I'm just going to use my hands and place it along. And what we're looking for is to evenly coat the actual dish, because Everybody loves that crispy topping. Just taking it and placing it on and making sure it's evenly coated. And those panko breadcrumbs are gonna add that extra crunch that you wouldn't get if you just had just the onions. I've preheated my oven to 375 Fahrenheit. We're gonna place this on the center shelf and let that cook for about 15 to 20 minutes. When it comes out the oven, you'll notice that the top has become golden brown. As you look at the sides, you can see that velvety mushroom sauce has coated them perfectly green beans. All this needs is a spoon and someone's Thanksgiving plate.